I'll take the high road, and you take the low road, and I'll get the crown before you.
Yo, what is up guys, Bob87 King here, back again with another video, and in this video we are going to be recapping episode 14 of Adventure Camp Carnival of Chaos, which overall was a very strong episode, a strong introduction to the merge, getting to see some of these people from the blue team and red team interact who just haven't, and overall I'm still very excited for the season, and I think the season is still continuing to be amazing. But without further ado, let's just talk about the episode overall, where the red team obviously comes back to camp, where Zayd being just clearly pissed off with everyone, and Benji tries to comfort him, obviously for Zayd to just not be recipient to that, with Hannah also trying to help, with just Zayd just not having it at all, and overall Zayd is just completely pissed off in the confessional as well, to where I was very excited to see Zayd just pissed off and actually do something this season, to where I feel like Zayd was just always taking a back seat to Ivy and also Tristan, to where I feel like this merge episode was a very good merge episode for Zayd, to where is he my winner pick for the merge? No, but I do think he is a strong contender. Meanwhile on the blue team we do see Logan and Spencer just playing around with each other with a couple of sticks, and we do see Spencer finally talk about his ex a little bit more, to where obviously they broke up 4 times, and they finally stopped talking after the 4th breakup, to where obviously Logan does obviously speculate about this, and also with their small moment together, which was really cute. Logan is in the confessional thinking about his sexuality, and he decides to talk to Richard about it, which was honestly a really wholesome moment considering the fact that Richard obviously never got to come out to his parents, and seeing Richard give Logan some advice with that, and seeing Logan also come to terms with his sexuality was just a very wholesome scene, and also kind of an emotional scene, to where obviously I do love Logan and Richard, and while I did find Logan annoying for past couple of episodes, or at least the middle stretch of episodes, I just kind of found him to be kind of like a Wayne, so maybe that's why I found Logan annoying, but these past few episodes has really been redeeming Logan to me, and honestly Logan is still one of my winner picks for the season. And we get to the challenge where Derek and Trevor announce that the teams are merged finally, and we get to today's challenge, which requires the 10 people to get into pairs of 2, and obviously just scuba dive under to get some treasure. Also, they get a reward for winning the challenge by getting one of their personal belongings. And seeing Benji's Hydro comic was honestly just really wholesome. I just had to throw that in there. Honestly, the pairs were pretty simple for the challenge, at least 3 of the 5 pairs in my opinion, to where I would have preferred it if Derek and Trevor would have decided, just because again, seeing a character like Anastasia and Benji interact would have been pretty fun as well, but honestly the pairings that we got were pretty fun regardless. We get Hannah and Benji, we get Spencer and Logan, we get Natalia and Isabel, we get Anastasia and Zayd, and we get Richard and Jade, which honestly I'm perfectly fine with. And meanwhile in this challenge we do get the interaction between Natalia and Isabel, with Isabel clearly wanting to reform the Girls Alliance, and Natalia clearly being hesitant towards this because she obviously does trust Logan and Richard, but clearly understands that Logan and Richard are 2 big threats, and Natalia is not beating the flipping allegations with this one. And to be honest, I really hope the show starts paying more attention to Natalia, just because again, she is still not that prominent, and even Richard has a more compelling story compared to her. While on the other side for Isabel, I do think overall this episode was a really strong start for Isabel for the merge, just because again, she is single-handedly controlling the game in my opinion, still having the totem as well, and also still having Spencer on her side in a way, to where again, Isabel just seems very locked in this game, to where personally right now for me, I'm gonna say it, she is the best player of all time in Adventure Camp. Meanwhile, for the Zayd and Anastasia scene, we do see Anastasia finally wanting to make an alliance with Zayd, which Zayd seems pretty hesitant to, but actually accepts, to where Zayd obviously knows that he doesn't really have that much options anyways, which I do think is smart, and I do think that this dynamic could be something very interesting moving forward. Meanwhile, with Benji and Hannah, they are deciding who should go underwater, and considering the fact that Hannah can't swim, she decides obviously Benji should go, and she does make a flirty comment saying that he looks cute in it anyways, and that comment with the comment of her calling Benji her hero, and just a couple other moments that I'm probably forgetting, I really do think Hannah definitely did have a crush on Benji, and I'll talk about that more once Benji goes home, but yeah, just stay tuned for that. Again, the challenge to me isn't really that noteworthy. Again, Logan almost drowns due to the fact that he gets stuck, and due to the fact that he is literally freaking out, his oxygen is kind of running out, similar to Jose in the Redonkulous race, leaving everyone but Jade to stop and obviously try to help Logan so he just doesn't die underwater. And overall though, I did find Jade and Richard to be very funny. Clearly Richard just really annoying Jade throughout the entire episode, with Jade clearly trying to hold it together, but she's just losing it on him, and I really do find that dynamic to be very fun. But due to the fact that they're clearly not helping Logan out, Richard does find the treasure chest, and they do win the challenge. And once they are able to retrieve Logan underwater, Spencer is able to give him mouth to mouth, leading to the kiss scene, which I know a lot of people on Twitter were very upset with by the thumbnail, and honestly, Twitter in general is just very upset with sometimes the yaoi bait or yuri bait that this Venture Camp does. And I'll be honest, I just don't care. Again, do whatever you can do for a thumbnail. If I could put a random ass thumbnail, I would, but I just will not just for the sake of it. But anyways, Jade and Richard do win the challenge, and they also do get to pick 2 other people to get the reward as well, and they do choose Zayd and Anastasia for just competing well in the challenge. Meanwhile, back at camp, we do see all the girls get into the alliance, and they do talk about who they want to vote off, with Natalia and Hannah clearly pushing for Zayd and everyone else agreeing. But once those 2 leave, we do see Isabel, Anastasia, and Jade clearly all agree that they have to take out someone else, that being Benji, because Benji serves no use to anyone anymore, and Jade clearly being still hesitant because she does kind of like Benji as a person, but Isabel clearly is strong-arming her here. Meanwhile, while Spencer does know he is safe, he tries to make a guys alliance, which was clearly never going to work in my opinion, just because Zayd was so pissed off with Benji here. And obviously Logan says, "I'll never vote for Anastasia," which doesn't age well, as once again Logan decides to flip his vote, which I do think Logan has flipped his vote nearly every single tribal he has attended, so that's pretty funny in my opinion. And Spencer is clearly making Logan vote for Anastasia here, and that is a pretty strong move by Spencer. And this vote was really, to me, very confusing, to where it felt like the bridge around and total drama, but it will actually go through to where the votes will actually make sense here, to where Logan, Richard, and Spencer are all going to vote for Anastasia here. Meanwhile, before Tribal, Isabel, Jade, and Anastasia talk, and Zayd is also on board with voting out Benji, to where Jade is still kind of hesitant, but Isabel's able to fully push her and fully convince her into voting out Benji here. And honestly, coming into Tribal, I really had no idea who was going home. I really predicted Zayd would be the one to leave, just because, again, his story kind of felt like it was going into a rut. But again, once I saw the first 2 Benji votes, I kind of knew that this blindside was coming, and Benji obviously does end up going home here. With Hannah having clearly a big emotional outburst, because again, once again, she loses another one of her friends, losing Amelie, losing Diego, losing Tristan, losing now Benji, her crush. So clearly Hannah has every right to be upset here, and obviously she does yell at Jade, saying what the hell, and Benji ends up calming her down, telling her that there's nothing they can do now, and that really Hannah should have listened to him about picking Ivy and Zayd over Isabel and Jade, which, again, I'll talk about once we do lose Hannah, because I do think Hannah makes a very poor strategic decision by going with Isabel and Jade, as we clearly see, as now Hannah has very little options moving forward, but that's whatever, again. But the sweet moment is ruined by Benji calling Hannah his sister, which, again, as a Benji and Tristan shipper, I'm fine with them being just having this brother-sister dynamic, but it's like, clearly Hannah definitely thought Benji had a crush on her, and she was also developing a crush on him, but that's, again, I feel like that will be explored more. Again, it's a 26 episode season, so hopefully they dive in more in that dynamic. But overall, we do lose Benji here, which is a shame, because Benji is such a great character. Again, I love Benji as a character. He was really funny. In the preseason, I was definitely lower on him just because he gave off pre-merge boot, but I'm so glad he stayed for as long as he did, being a really comedic character. Again, reminding me of Vince from Next Generation, both as a character and also as a player. These 2 characters that are very immature, but also have good reads at a certain point. It's just they aren't good socially enough to actually enact those plans to actually benefit their games, to where obviously I do love Benji here on the season, and he was a great pick. And before Benji leaves, obviously he does try to fist bump Zayd, but Zayd obviously isn't having it, and while he leaves, we do see Jade kind of tearing up and makes a confessional saying thank you Benji for being her friend, which honestly was a very sweet and also kind of an emotional scene to me, to where, yeah, Benji going home definitely sucked, but I am kind of happy with it. And at the very, very end of the episode, we do see Isabel saying how Hannah now only has the girls' alliance, which again shows that Isabel is clearly playing the game the best way, and no one is really viewing Isabel as a threat, because truthfully, again, while she is clearly a threat, she's not really a physical threat, so I understand why they aren't targeting her, but her social game is also just on point with every single person, really outside of Zayd, to where, yeah, I just think Isabel is a very strong player here right now, and that is why I've changed my winner pick from Hannah in the... I think Hannah was my winner pick for the mid-season power rankings, but I think right now I'm going with Isabel here. I'm locking it in, and obviously I'll change it throughout episode 15 or just every single merge episode, because I do plan to review it, and obviously give my winner pick if it ever does change. But yeah, that is episode 14. That is my review of it. I really enjoyed this episode, as you can clearly tell, and yeah, that's all I really have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, peace out.
Trent, you messed up, dude.
When I'm out of town, I be tripping, I be on one.
You leave us no choice.
Why you taking pictures?